Mark, I know we're here to discuss a lot of the prospects, but I have a question just about things in general. You set a goal of making the playoffs this year, but also you wanted to get younger, faster, more competitive for the future. How do you balance those two things as you're approaching the trade deadline in the next month, and the team has been in a playoff position for almost every day this season?
Yeah, no, we have, like I said, if from day one, I believe that if we did stay healthy, our goal was to fight for a playoff spot. And so far, the first half, that's what we've done, and expect the same for the second half. Again, I'm always going to be listening to option, but I'm not going to start. The goal is to build for the future, and just to give up asset for short term, I'm not going to do it. It would have to be very appealing. Again, if there's a young player available and there's asset as to go, I get that, but I don't think I'll be in the rental business.
Without getting into any names or anything like that, I would never expect you to do that. Do you see opportunities potentially on the trade market where you could get a player or acquire a couple of players that could help you now and in the future?
Right now, it's way too early to talk about. Other general manager nobody has started talking about trade, and that's usually 10 days before, a week before. So we have a long ways to go for that. Again, I'm going to listen. If I think it makes sense, I'll do it. But I'm not going to start mortgaging the future because I know what's coming with the World Junior, who they're going to be asking for, and I'm not moving these kids. So it's going to be a short conversation, I think.
I would like to ask you about the prospects that we just saw at the World Junior Tournament. Was it something that they did within this tournament that now has made you elevate them to untouchables for the trade deadline, like you were just saying?
Yeah.
Or was it, did you already have that in your head?
Well, obviously, we're not going to start giving up young assets, but I mean, if we drafted these kids because we believed they had some potential, and that came in the forefront, in Vancouver with our prospect that really step up their games to a level where, I know last summer when we step up and drafted Romanov at 38, with a lot of critiques around there saying but I remember at the table I said to Trevor, I said, if we do like him, let's just not wait, because I don't want a pick before us, somebody grabs him and he's gone and we wish. So when you like a player, you just step up and take him.
I know you didn't come here necessarily to talk about the trade deadline, but based on what you said, and all season, from the beginning of the season, you said, look to the future but compete for a playoff spot at the same time, which a lot of people thought was contradictory, and your team has kind of been able to do that so far. You say you want to look to the future, you don't want to, but to what extent do you feel you owe something to the guys in those rooms for what they've done so far, owe some help or whatever?
You know what? I'm not going to give up a first-round pick for a rental. It's just not going to happen. So I want to be clear today, it's not happening. If there is something that makes sense, short-term and long-term, I will do it. But giving up asset for short-term, it's not going to happen.
I understand that, but you also always say that once you get in, you never know, right? And so if you're in a position to get in order, and with how competitive it is in your division and even for the wild card, how much is that going to play into that notion that if you get in, you never know? How much will that play into your decision-making come to trade it?
It will be, but I'm not sure what's going to be available at the time. It's so far away. I mean, I can't mention names, but there's names I'm hearing out there. The cost is a first-round pick, and that player will not make a difference between winning a Stanley Cup or barely getting in, so that's not going to happen.
Mark, you made a lot of off-season changes that have got this team back on track rather quickly. What's been maybe the most pleasant surprise for you in the first half? Or has it worked out? Have they worked out even better than maybe you anticipated?
Well, if you want to talk about players, I thought that Thomas Tatar really, he was a very good player in Detroit. There were some injuries issues last year in Detroit. Then he went to Vegas. They were on a roll. He never got his chance, or never got going. And then came here, and he competes. He never stops. He's always on the puck, and we didn't see that in Vegas. Was it because of his injuries? I don't know, but I think he's been pretty good for us. But the way the team is performed when they're down, the way they're coming back, they never seems to to quit. To me, that was something that was missing last year, and I'm proud it's back now. And they seem like they're having a lot of fun together too.
Do you have a major concern or one main concern for the second half? Something that you're
It's always
worried
injuries. Injuries are a concern for every team. I've talked to, again, few GM the last couple of days, and some teams are really banged up. And you just go, you dig down your depth, and you hope for the best. I mean, for a while, I know Nashville was struggling, but they had a lot of guys out of the lineup, and there's not much you could do. So that's always a concern, the injuries.
Just want to get your thoughts on Andrew Shaw's season to date. Obviously, a player that, for whatever reason, up and down leading up to this season, and finally has found what you were looking for when you traded for him. And also, do you expect that he could be out long term with the injury that he has right now?
Injuries, I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but you made a good point. He's came this year. He missed last year. He got hurt his knee, came back. I think the first 5 or 6 games he was a little rusty, but then they put him with Joe and Max, and he found his groove, and he's been very good for us. Now he's been out since the Dallas game, I believe. I don't think it's going to be long, but it could be long. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you right now, but I hope he's back soon.